Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final third. And today we're going to be looking at the Premier League Matchweek 26 games and be discussing the results of them. A lot of interesting results, some major impacts after those results, and a lot of controversial things have happened this week. So we will get into all of that in a bit. But before we do, Al, can you reveal the player from the last video, please?
Yes, it was Daniel Sturridge. So let us know if you got that in the comments, and of course we'll do the new quiz at the end of the video.
Perfect, Al. Thank you very much. So let's just jump straight into it. The first game was Leeds United. Chelsea vs Leeds United,
Yes.
and that finished as a 2-2 draw. So Chelsea dropped points in their race for top four, and Leeds dropped points in their race to move further away from the relegation zone. Probably a better result for Leeds, if we're honest. What did you guys think of the Chelsea performance? And there was obviously that chance right at the end where Cole Palmer missed an absolute sitter. Should have won the game for them. And what did you think about it?
Yeah, they definitely started positively, for sure. You know, going up by 2 goals. I mean, they were kind of gifted the penalty by the defender from Leeds, which, you know, it was just a stupid penalty in general to give away. I don't know what the defender was thinking, because I mean, Chelsea were given a penalty like that in their last game, so you would have thought, like, you know, they'd make sure not to make a mistake like that. But obviously, the Leeds defenders punched him in the back with 2 hands, and it's a clear penalty, which, you know, made it probably feel for Leeds that they might have been out with the game. But fair play to them, they got back in it with a penalty, and then the second goal, which was appalling defending from Chelsea. Like, I honestly don't think I've seen worse defending this season. It's awful.
That was the weirdest goal.
It's just calamitous, bro. It's absolutely calamitous. It's just every player that was involved in that, should be ashamed of themselves. It's disgraceful, to be honest, how they have allowed a goal to go in from that. But yeah, I mean, like you say, it's probably a better point for Leeds. And the miss from Cole Palmer is just probably the miss of the season.
Unacceptable, if you're honest. And Hassan has been talking about Cole Palmer a lot, and in terms of the comparison with Bruno Fernandes. What do we think after that?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of just proves my point. You know, like it's just aged perfectly. You know what I mean? Aged out fine wine. Because, like, you know, I know he still scored in that game. He assisted that game, but missing a chance like that, he could have easily won his team 3 points, and he just skies it over. And I watched the video actually where, you know, when Bruno explains why he hit it with his shin instead of with his foot, saying that if he shot with his foot, it would have skied over instead of hitting with his shin. That kind of explains why Palmer's shot went over as well, because he hit with his foot. If he'd shinned that or hit with his studs, it would have gone in. But because, you know, Bruno's got, you know, more IQ than Palmer. Palmer's just a set 8 kid in comparison. You know what I mean? So yeah, Bruno knows, you know, in that situation what to do, and Palmer doesn't. So yeah, that's why he's completely scared. He didn't even hit the roof, but. In terms of Leeds though, because I want to talk about the Leeds side of things, a great result for them, I think, away from home. You know, in Stamford Bridge is not an easy place to get points from there, especially for Leeds, a team that promotes side. I think a point is a very good point for them. But yeah, I think they could have easily won this game if they didn't give away that silly penalty. As Ali said, it's a clear night and day penalty. But yeah, I think that they should have just been a bit more, you know, watertight in the defence, but you know, it's still a good point for them. So, you know, fair play to Leeds, and you know, they're getting up there. To be fair, 30 points in the league, very good for them, and we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season for them.
Yeah, they're currently 6 points clear of the relegation zone. We'll discuss more about the relegation zone further down the line, but they are starting to move further and further away. They are 15th currently, so definitely a good result for them to go away to Chelsea and get a draw is very, very good. But let's move on to the next game. It is Everton versus Bournemouth. Everton give away a lead of 1 goal and concede 2, and also receive a red card of probably one of their better centre-backs, O'Brien. It's been very good for them this season at centre-back. When he plays at right-back, he's not very good, but again, at centre-back is quite good. And I want to discuss one player in particular. A youngster who had a lot of pressure when he came in, young Brazilian, Ryan. Came in, made a big difference, and the fact is he is only the 3rd teenager to score or assist in his first 3 matches in the Premier League. Big pressure for a relatively big price tag coming from the Brazilian league. What do we think of him?
Great player. Got a lot of potential, very exciting player. It's just another one from Bournemouth, another player that they've managed to churn in and, develop and, gonna develop. But, like, it's just another one of those players for a team like Bournemouth or a team like Brighton and Brentford. They just bring them out of nowhere and they end up, lighting up the Premier League. The recruitment on that is just unbelievable. And it just shows how important recruitment can be, especially for teams like Brighton, Bournemouth, and like the Brentfords of the league. Because these are the kind of players, that get them into the positions that they're in. Because obviously Bournemouth, start off the season well, had a bit of a sticky patch towards the middle, but they're back on it, and they're currently ninth, I believe, at the moment. And yeah, so they're having a good spell of form right now, and obviously West Ham actually play them next, so I'm a bit worried for that, if I'm being honest. But fair play to Bournemouth. It was a great result. I would say Everton probably, let it go, if you know what I'm saying. Like, they had the opportunity to probably win that game, but they just didn't take it. Because probably they had a couple of chances that they just didn't take advantage of. And I mean, in the Premier League, when you don't take your chances, you get punished for it. And Bournemouth punished Everton for not taking their chances, whereas Bournemouth did take their chances very well as well. And yeah, probably got the deserved win, and big win for them, because they could possibly challenge for Europe as well. They're not far off it either. So yeah.
Yeah, and we talk about how Everton are trying to challenge for Europe, and they're currently level on points with Bournemouth. And they are, to be fair, 8th, which is a very good position to be in. They are 3 points behind Brentford, 5 points behind Liverpool. But I've seen their run of games. The next 5 games are very difficult. They're playing Man United at home, Newcastle away, Burnley at home, which, okay, fair enough, that's a bit of an easy one. Arsenal away, and Chelsea at home. So a pretty hard run of games for Everton coming up, with a terrible, result realistically, and also having that red card for maybe your best centre back. What do we think does that hurt their chances of potentially getting European football?
I think it potentially does, to be honest. As you said, what's his name? Jacob Bryan.
Jacob Bryan, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good player. I just think he's being played out of position, and because they've lost that player now, there's less of an option at centre back or even at right back. So it's going to be a bit difficult for them to find a player to move into the team in that slot. But I do think in general they're still a good team, Everton, and I still think they'll try to push for European football. But I still think anywhere top half of the table, they'll be happy with that. But I want to talk about Barry as well, because he missed a lot of sitters in this game as well. I think Premier League Barry is back to Baller League Barry. So yeah, it's just missing all those chances is not good for Everton at all, because a team like Everton doesn't create a lot of chances like some of the other teams in the league. So for him to miss that many goals is not ideal for them, because I just don't think I think Everton lacking out creativity. Obviously Jack Grealish is injured and he won't be back until the very end of the season, so I think the season is pretty much over for Everton if they don't extend his contract. I think that's what they're missing right now, and the creativity is obviously lacking, because they've only scored 29 goals in the league, which is much less than most of the teams that I can see in the league table. So it's not looking good for them. Losing that player from the red card is not ideal. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But they have a couple of games which I do think they'll get results from. But the other games that you've mentioned, that away Arsenal and Newcastle is going to be pretty rough. So we'll see what happens. But I do think it'll be difficult for them.
Yeah, 100%. We have to see what they can do. Their next game is Man United. Man United, they're in a very good vein of form, so we'll have to wait and see what Everton can do in that game. But let's go on to the next one. And this one led to a manager losing his job, and it is Tottenham versus Newcastle. A 2-1 loss for Tottenham, and the Tottenham board have had enough, and they got rid of Thomas Frank, as a lot of the Tottenham fans have, as a lot of the players have. We've discussed Tottenham, and even talked about how we thought Thomas Frank would do a lot better with the Tottenham side. Realistically, where should the blame be placed? Should it be fully on Frank, or what's your opinions on it?
Honestly, no. I don't feel like you can necessarily blame the manager. How many managers have they had over the years? And they haven't found success. The biggest problem is it's the board, because you can give them the credit for especially Daniel Levy. I know he's left in the summer, but obviously all the business that he did for Tottenham, getting them into the new stadium, the training ground, all their stuff and the facilities. However, when it comes to the football, they're just not ambitious. And obviously, Ange just went on the Stick to Football podcast, and I just watched it. And he was talking about how he doesn't feel, he's saying this now, and he was Tottenham manager, yeah, that the club aren't ambitious when it comes to the football. They're not willing to spend the money on the big players to get them over the line, maybe get them the trophies. I think a great example is, you can think of the team that they had with Harry Kane, Son, Eriksson, these kind of players, probably their best team they've had, yeah. But in my opinion, I don't think they did enough with that team in terms of, getting more players in and, making that a really powerhouse of a team to go on and win the trophies. And I think it's showing now, because now that Kane's gone, now that Son's gone, you can clearly see how much it's affected them. They didn't take an advantage when they had those players, and now they're reaping the repercussions of it. And yeah, it's probably to do with the board. Obviously, I don't think Thomas Frank was a good appointment. I don't think the team was really set out for his tactics, and not only that, I just don't think he's a good fit for a big team. I think with it, because he's too kind. He's just too kind. And when you got players with such big egos, you need a ruthless manager that isn't going to take any shit from the players. And unfortunately for Thomas Frank, he isn't that kind of manager. He's a lovely guy, and he will always defend his players, but sometimes you just need to give them a bit of a bollocking. I mean, a great example is when Romero got sent off against United, and in the press conference, he's defending him. How can you defend a player that's been sent off, your captain? You can't defend him. You have to go against it. But he didn't
criticize him.
Yeah, you got to criticize him. And look, he's lost his job at the end of the day. Probably deserved in a way because of the results. But I'm sure he'll get it. Look, Glasner's leaving Crystal Palace in the end of the summer. I'm sure that I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas Frank goes into that job, if I'm being honest. But yeah, no, it's unfortunate for him, but I'm not surprised. And I saw who they brought in, and to be honest, it's not looking any better, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do find themselves really in that relegation scrap. So, yeah.
He's just an interim manager, so you got to give him a bit of leeway. You have to see how they play from now till the end of the season. There are 12 games left. They definitely have enough time to at least not get relegated and potentially finish higher up in the league, because with the quality of their team, should be doing a lot better. But let's not take anything away from Newcastle. Newcastle needed to get a result in this game to stay in the European race. They did, and it's very impressive. They went. I mean, let's be honest. Going to Tottenham away isn't a very difficult game nowadays, but still, to go there, get a result. What do we think about, especially Malik Thiaw? He's been a great signing for Newcastle and been a very important reason on why. Okay, they've not been very, very good this season, but they've done relatively okay.
Yeah, he's a great defender. Yeah, he's still young. He's still got time to improve. I think at the start of the season he was a bit shaky because obviously he's a new player coming into the Premier League. I think he did cost Newcastle a goal a few games before. Don't remember who was against, but yeah, it's normal. A young player coming into a new league. Obviously he's gonna have some nerves. He's not gonna be that confident, especially playing up against probably the best players in the world. Obviously, the Premier League is one of the best leagues, if not the best league. So I could completely understand why he's coming quite nervous, but he's starting to show his quality and starting to be very, very crucial for Newcastle, not just defensively but also offensively, because he scored in this game, and it was a well taken goal. But yeah, I'm expecting good things out of him, and it's a very good signing for Newcastle. I think Newcastle is one of those clubs as of late that's been running decently. I just think with the manager, I know they won the game, but I think with Eddie Howe, I don't think he's getting the best out of this team. But we have to see for the rest of the season to see how well this team functions. But yeah, in general, the team's looking really good, and yeah, as you said, they're not doing too bad in the table. But I think at this point, Newcastle should be way higher up for a team that's got the current squad right now. And the players that they have, and the ambitions that they probably have as well for competing for Europe. I think that they should be higher up in the table, but there's still a lot of games left, so we'll see how it goes for them.
Again, yeah, like you say, probably they should be doing a bit better. But even then, we were discussing earlier on in the season how close it is from a certain position to a certain position. It is starting to look a bit more stable in terms of the top four is looking like it will be a certain couple of teams that will be fighting for it. Relegation looks like it will be again a couple of teams fighting to stay in the league. But mid-table, really anybody can finish anywhere. whether Newcastle can get that European spot, we'll have to wait and see. But talking about European football and relegation, the final third derby, West Ham versus Manchester United, ended 1-1 with a Sesko late equaliser. Now, let's let Ali talk because West Ham were the home side. What did you think about West Ham's performance, and do you believe that it is 2 points dropped?
100%. I do think it's 2 points dropped. I did think the performance was great though. However, I don't think it was like a bad performance per se. The only reason I say it's 2 point drops, look, you could look at the fact that there were 7 minutes added on, which is something like right after the game, we were talking about a lot. The fact that there were 7 minutes added on, whether that should have happened or not. However, at the end of the day, we had chances to, seal that game off towards the end, with 2 good chances. But you have to give credit to Lenny Yoro because 2 brilliant blocks. But we had those chances and we didn't take them, and that's on us at the end of the day, really. So yeah, but on a whole, it was a good performance. Defensively, I thought we were good. What else can I say? Yeah, even going forward, we seemed pretty good as well, and probably had, we were quite threatening, to be fair. But yeah, it is very disappointing, especially because Nottingham Forest dropped points. It would have been a great opportunity to get closer out of the relegation zone. But yeah, it was a good game from the players. It's good signs. There's a lot of positives to take away from this, which is good because that's what we need right now, trying to get out of the relegation zone. We just need that momentum to carry on, especially because we do have very difficult games coming up, like Liverpool, City, Villa, and even Fulham. They're going to be very difficult. If we get any points out of any of those games, I'd be very impressed. But yeah, no, I think it was a good performance, but it's just very unfortunate that we dropped those points towards the end. But brilliant finish, nothing the players can really do on that, so yeah.
Yeah, before Hassan gets onto the Man United side of things, I want to mention something about West Ham. They look very dangerous on the counter-attack, and one of the main problems this season has been their defence. I mean, they've conceded, they were the side that conceded the most goals at one point, but Burnley have overtaken that currently, but West Ham are still second in that position for most goals conceded. In this game, they looked really compact, really solid, gave United a very hard time. The attacking players that were performing so well against Man City and Arsenal, Fulham, and even Tottenham as well, they didn't really do much because of how solid West Ham were, so I give credit where credit's due. But yeah. Hassan, do you want to discuss maybe the Man United side of things, and maybe even for us, it could be a sense of 2 points dropped because we played terrible in the game, and
I mean, coming to the game, you'd expect to win. Obviously, not for United's trying to get his head cut or whatever, but also because we want to get the 5 wins in a row, get a good momentum going and everything like that. But I saw the lineup, and the only thing I wasn't really impressed by is having Cunha as striker, because I knew West Ham were going to have a low block and try and defend and be compact. So you need a tall striker like Sesko to get the end of crosses and stuff. Because Cunha, that's not that type of player he is. You know what I mean? He's a player that goes at defenders. He's very good when there's that transitional attacks. But when West Ham are playing, defensive, Cunha's not going to be able to have many chances. And when he did bring on Sesko, he scored that fantastic goal. What a finish from him. But in terms of the goal we conceded, I think it's a very sloppy defensive error from us. I think Luke Shaw just he commits for that tackle and he misses the ball completely. So then there's actually like 3 or 4 versus 2 or whatever. And Mbeumo, I think, doesn't track properly. He lets the cross come in, and obviously Souček is good finish from him, puts it past Lemens. But I do want to say the 2 centre backs were class in this game. I think Martinez and Maguire are really good. They didn't let the attackers really have a chance to sniff from West Ham's side. And obviously Martinez, that Cruyff turn against Bowen just sent him to Asda, you know what I mean? Yeah. That was filthy from him.
Send him back to Hull.
That was pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah, but to be fair, as I think Hull said as well, I think attackers were completely off it. I think the only attacker that had one good chance was Bruno. Obviously, Bruno had that cross to Xerxes and then he narrowly missed the post. I think that was one good chance he created, but other than that, even Bruno was off. So, Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You don't know whether it's West Ham's brilliant defending or if it's the players that were just off. And I think it's a mixture of both, to be honest. Because when I watched the game, it was just lacking intensity. I thought United would push much stronger. After we conceded, I could see the team tried harder, but before that, there wasn't really much urgency going on. So I think that's been one of the habits that we've had from Amrim's era when our team wouldn't try until we concede. So hopefully it doesn't come back into Carrick's era, but we'll have to see, to be honest. But I'm still happy that we got the point, because I thought if we take a point here, it'll be a bit of a robbery. But respect to Sesko for scoring that goal.
100%, very impactful super sub, came on with a striker's finish, and not many strikers in the league right now can score that type of goal. It was one of the more underrated goals this season, I think you'll see, because it was literally the perfect touch where if the contact had any less, it would have been an easy save for Hermansson, or it wouldn't have been enough, and any more, it's going straight over the bar. So literally the most delicate touch, and it was a beautiful top corner finish, leaving the goalkeeper with no chance. But before we move on to the next game, I want to discuss the situation with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now we don't get into the politics of it, because I feel like we're not a political channel. We are a football channel. But I'm going to have a little bit of a say of it. Leave the politics out of football. You are the owner of Manchester United. You should not bring any type of political aspect into it. And I think with the consequences, I feel like with the fans, there's a lot of fans that are immigrants. That includes us, actually.
United's one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like, we're global, and you've got a lot of foreign fans. You know what I mean? So this is deeply going to hurt a lot of those fans, including us.
And
so,
apparently a lot of the players are hurt, and deeply hurt, because, let's be honest, a lot of the players are immigrants. They are not from the country. Our captain, Bruno Fernandes, is from Portugal. One of our better centre-backs is Sandro Martinez, our goalkeeper. You know what I mean? When all these positions, take all them out, where would we be? We'd only have literally a handful of players. And realistically, those aren't really good enough to get us to where we need to be. So I feel like the Sir Jim Ratcliffe came out with an apology. It's not enough. I'm sorry. You can't make a statement like that. Exactly. You said what you said, and you meant what you said. You can't take that back. In this day and age, you can't take back what you said. It's on the internet, and it will never be deleted. So, fortunately, let's hope there can be a bit of a movement against him, because this guy, first and foremost, on the footballing side, isn't very good. We've seen that. He's sacked multiple people in the club, has put the club in the bin realistically, and we've fallen off.
Isn't it ironic he's sacked a lot of workers that work for United? Like a lot of the cooks, the chefs, and the cleaners and stuff. Is it ironic that he calls out immigrants and he's sacking them as well? Like it makes sense. You know what I mean?
And that's my thing, and it's disgusting to see, because, like we say, a lot of players are immigrants. The manager before was Ruben Amorim was an immigrant. You know what I mean? We've had so many managers that aren't British / from Manchester.
Fergie's not even English.
That's what I'm saying. He's from Scotland. So the club is built on players from other countries coming in and making a massive impact. So again, we can discuss this so much. We can make a whole separate video about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but there will be repercussions for what he says, and hopefully it leads to him leaving the football club. But let's move on to the next game before we discuss this point anymore. The next game was Aston Villa versus Brighton, with a big win for Aston Villa, 1-0, very late in the game. I believe people thought it was Tyrone Mings who scored the winner. It was actually went down as an own goal against Jack Henshelwood.
Oh yeah, Henshelwood, yeah.
Henshelwood, I think that's how you say his name. Villa with maybe not a convincing win, but a win nonetheless, and maybe get back in the title race.
Probably not, if I'm being honest, because the performance, I don't think, was even necessarily that good. It's a good win, it's a massive win for them, but if they keep playing like that, they're not going to be in the title race, of course. Would they be in top 4? Of course, they can still be, finishing top 4, but no, there's no way they're going to be fighting for the title. However,
only 3 points by City, though.
I know that, but you got to look at the performances. That's the thing. You see City, they're winning 3-0 against a Fulham. If Villa are only winning 1-0 at home, I believe, against Brighton,
Yeah.
It's not ideal, is it? And obviously their performances recently haven't been the best. If I'm being honest, Brighton will probably feel very, hurt by feel unlucky about this game because they had chances, they did play well, but this is the story of Brighton's season at the moment. They just can't seem to get the goals when it's most needed. And yeah, where that's coming from, whether it's the finishing, whether it's the creativity, a mixture of all of it, I feel like they're just such an average team. In every part of the field, they're just average. Maybe the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's pretty good, to be fair. But apart from that, I don't feel like they have enough to really, challenge for anything. They're just a mid-table team, unfortunately, at the moment. Whether they stick with a manager, God knows. I don't see Brighton are a team that would, get rid of a manager like that. They'd back him and, get the players that are needed. But, yeah, I'm not really sure what the problem is there. But, yeah, they just seem like they don't have any star power, anything like that. Because in previous seasons, they've had players like Caicedo. They've had players like, who else? Help me here, guys. João Pedro. These kind of players that would get them over the line. Point. Yeah, exactly. But they had those players that would get them over the line. But at the moment, they just don't have that. And that's probably what's costing them games. So, yeah.
It's not just that. They have players that were at the club and were performing really well in the likes of Matoma, Baliba. I mean, Pascal Grobe was a signing they remade. And they're not performing to the level that they would want. So it's quite disappointing for Brighton's side of things. But again, we'll talk Villa, very, very good performance. Very, very good results, sorry. And yeah, I think again, Emi Martinez being a very important player for them, making not many saves, but being probably maybe even their player of the season because of how important he's been with his saves.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I do want to talk a little bit about Brighton because obviously Milner's joined Gareth Barry as the joint most appearances in the Premier League. Obviously, big milestone for him. But also Baliba, the reason why he came on is because Baliba got a knock, which isn't good for Brighton. Obviously, being as the starting midfielder, that'll be a big blow to Brighton and potentially could cripple the season. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. To be honest, Baliba himself has not been great, but he's still a very important player for them. So when they lose that type of player, the season could definitely be just come crashing down. In terms of Villa, though, I just not a very impressive performance, like you guys were saying, but I still think it's crucial 3 points, and if they can get some form, they can still definitely be in the race. But obviously, I still think it's City and Arsenal who's going to battle out for the title. But I think Aston Villa could definitely be thrown in the mix if they start to play well. So yeah, that's what I've got to say.
Yeah, again, to be honest, I was kind of not brutal with Villa, but I was saying again. They need to keep up the consistency. This performance wasn't very convincing. It only came from an own goal in the last minute. Like I said, again, United, Chelsea dropped points, which is a very good thing for Villa. If the United and Chelsea kept on winning, then it would have been quite dangerous for Villa. But again, now there's a 5-point gap there. They need to keep it up. They need to keep on winning. Otherwise, even though United and Chelsea did drop points in their games, I still see them doing enough to potentially overtake Villa. But again, even if Villa finish 5th, then that should be Champions League football. So I feel like Champions League football is almost secured for them.
League anyway, so
potentially, yeah. But again, realistically in the Europa League, you just don't know. There's been so many English teams that have been in it. From experience, West Ham, obviously United. Don't discuss the Europa League and how that went. But in the sense that a lot of European teams, a lot of teams that haven't won it before seem to win it. So you don't know. You don't know how it's going to go with that. So yeah, they've got multiple routes to get in the Champions League, whether that's from the league or whether that's from the Europa League. But let's move on to a team who are currently in the title race, and it is Manchester City versus Fulham. A very convincing 3-0 win. Killed the game off in the first half and were probably in second gear. Or first gear, sorry, in the second half. So, what did we think of that performance?
I think this is more what we expect from City. Just dominant performances, really killing games off as quickly as possible. So it's just and they had a pretty full strength squad. So I'm not surprised, to be honest. Haaland finally getting back on the goal scoring sheet. It's been a while for him, but he's back on it. Semenyo, just proving each game how good of a signing he was for City. It's just what do you really expect? I think we all knew they were going to be Fulham. I thought Fulham did give them a good game. I know the score doesn't really seem like it, but if you watch the game, you watch the way Fulham played, they did have chances, just unfortunately just didn't get the goals. Even Ben Leno made a couple good saves, to be fair to him, so it could have been worse. But it's just a good performance from City, like we expect from them, dominant. And it's just as simple as that. There's not a lot you can really say about the game, just it was a pretty dominant performance. That's all. Simple as that.
Yeah, Hassan, maybe we can talk about Fulham and how, to be fair, they gave it a good go in the second half. They tried to make the game at least, level or give it a better game than what it was in the first half. What did you rate of their performance? And I don't know whether you probably say that result is a bad one for them. It is, obviously, because it's a loss, but would you say that it was expected?
I'll say obviously it's a bad result in the sense that they don't deserve to lose 3-0 because I think the way they played is better than what the scoreline reflects. But I still think it's just silly errors for the goals, which, it happens in football and that could obviously cost a goal or two. But I think Jimenez, he missed a few chances as well. And, being that, experienced striker for Fulham, he should be the one, putting away those chances. So he's kind of costed his team by not, scoring the goals because obviously one goal can change a game, a lot. Not just in terms of the scoreline, but obviously shifting momentum. And obviously when you miss those chances, it kind of gives the other team a chance to breathe and create more chances against you. I think that if he puts away those chances, that'll definitely change the game, and unfortunately it didn't. So Fulham just didn't get anything from this game. As Ali said, it's just City being on top of their game. Obviously, having a good performance, and Nico Riley is proving to put a statement out there for England. Being as the left back for England. He had a very good performance. I think his goal was great as well. So he's making a strong case for himself, and obviously Luke Shaw is not the same Luke Shaw as we've known, from years back. So I think he's making a strong case for himself, and he'll definitely be one of the lead players to play in that position. So we have to see.
100%. Very interesting. Semenyo, as we said, he's kept up the form from Bournemouth and just brought it to Man City, and that can be a very, very important thing for them and the title race as they do make the gap a bit more narrow to make it a bit more interesting. But let's go on to a relegation-ridden battle. Nottingham Forest draw 0-0 with Wolves at home, and in the end, it costs Sean Dyche his job. Realistically, they had an absolute stinker of a game, and I feel like a draw is very, very lucky. Even though, to be fair, Jose Sarr had probably the performance of his life, making 10 saves. Probably reminds me of, I've even said this before. He kind of looks a bit like David De Gea,
De Gea,
he does.
Do you know what I mean?
He does.
And he performed like him, making 10 brilliant saves and one really good double save.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So.
Mental.
Yeah, what do we think about?
It's probably the worst finishing I've ever seen in my life, though. As much we obviously got to give credit to Jose Sarr, but the finishing was disgraceful. I don't even know what to say. They had 6-on-1 and they didn't score. What better of a chance are you gonna get? And they didn't take it. I'm not surprised Sean Dyche got sacked. Did he deserve it? I'm not really sure, if I'm being honest, because at the moment with Forest, who are they going to bring? Well, they brought in Vitor Pereira. I think that's just worse, in my opinion. I think they were better off sticking with Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche's just got more experience in getting teams out of relegation. And maybe he's probably hoping for a new manager bounce. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. But no, it's an absolutely disgraceful performance from Nottingham Forest, and even kind of got away with not losing the game because Wolves had a very good chance to score towards the end as well with Mane. So probably got off quite lucky. I know they had 10 shots on target, but like still, even Wolves had a couple of chances to score themselves. So yeah, awful performance from them. I'm obviously happy about it because it keeps us close to them. But it's just not. It's not good at all. And I think they'll probably. I don't want to call any shots yet because there's still a long way to go, and I don't want to put any karma on us. So I'm not going to really say anything. But yeah, it's just not ideal for them, is it?
I'll say something. They've been performing very poor over the last couple of games, and I would not be surprised if they will be the side that gets relegated, other than West Ham. Knock on wood for your sake, Al. Hopefully, you guys, do stay in the league for your sake. But like we say, Forest. Realistically, they dominated the game. But if it wasn't for a man named Jose Sarr, the David De Gea clone, the reincarnation of Mr. David De Gea, they probably would have been a smashing. But again, he made an incredible double save as well. And, realistically, he's a player that will definitely get a good move and won't be in the Championship next season, let's be honest.
100%.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I wanted to say, sacking Sean Dyche has probably derailed the season. You can't really put that on the manager. Like, he's managed a win, basically. He's managed, he's put the team, he's put the lineup to score goals. The fact they're missing chances, like, it's ridiculous. Their finishing ability must be as good as Stephen Hawking's. Like, it's terrible, man. Like, it's just you have that many chances to score. Like, I get Jose Sarr's having the game of his life, but you have to be scoring at least one goal. Like, one goal and they get 3 points, and Sean Dyche won't be sacked. So it's bad, man. Like, it's just this is what I don't like in football. It's the fact that these players got, like, how do I say, they've got more of like authority than managers now.
Yeah, they hold so much power over a manager getting sacked.
Yeah, they get protected too easily.
Like, how can you blame the manager for that result? Like, I'm sorry, but like it is only the players.
This is kind of what I was saying. This is kind of what I was saying under Amrim, to be honest. Because when I was watching the games, right, I'm like, the team is playing good, right? We're creating chances, but we don't score. That's not on the manager. The manager's coached the win, but the players don't want to score goals. That's nothing to do with the manager. So I do get why, maybe Sean Dyche has lashed out at the owners or something. I don't know. I just don't think the reason why he got sacked is because like the result or anything like that. I think he got sacked just because of some outrage that happened after maybe some meeting. I don't know, because I don't think he'll get sacked over that. Because in the grand scheme of things, it is not a good result, but I don't think he's at fault for that. And they've had some good wins under Sean Dyche, so
I get you.
100%. A lot of sackings happened this weekend, and so many sackings have happened this season. So I would not be surprised if there will be a couple more sackings before the season ends. Probably. And actually, I'm pretty sure the Sunderland manager left, if I'm not mistaken. But we will discuss that later, I believe. Or am I wrong?
Sunderland manager?
I don't think so.
Or was it something to do with Sunderland? I saw something about Sunderland.
No way would he leave. Why would he leave? What, they're doing fantastic.
I do not know. Let me have a look quickly, if you guys could bear with me. I saw something David Ornstein talked about.
We'll get to the Sunderland game.
100%.
When we get to Sunderland,
I pulled up the article, but it wasn't to do with the manager. That was my bad. I thought it was something. It said somebody left Sunderland, but it wasn't the manager. My bad. Sorry, guys. My bad. Sorry. Let's go on to the Palace and Burnley game. Very, 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 very bad performance from Crystal Palace to bottle a 2-0 lead in the first half and not do anything in the second half to even try and salvage anything for the game is very, very poor. Before we discuss the bottling of it, let's talk about Jørgen Strand Larsen. I feel like us as a channel, we've discussed the fact that he has not been, or he won't be, a good signing for Crystal Palace. I discussed and I said, and I didn't back him, but I said that, again, you've got to give player a bit of time. He's got to come in. He's got to get a bit of confidence. And he's got 2 goals in this game. Fortunately, it wasn't enough for his sake. But, yeah.
You know what? Maybe I have to hold my hands up a little and, give him a bit of credit because he's obviously gone and got 2 goals. Like you say, it's not enough, but that's not his fault whatsoever.
No.
Look, he can be a great player for Crystal Palace. Again, whether he becomes a 45 million worth player for Palace, we'll still have to wait and see. I mean, yes, 2 goals, and obviously in the first game he looked great as well. But obviously, it's about consistency. That's the most important thing, right? So if he keeps it up, then yeah, he will definitely be worth the money that they spent on him. And he's young, to be fair. He's very young, so he's got a lot of time to develop at Palace, so which is always good. But I don't know how Palace have bottled that. And to be honest, yeah, it's just they're free falling. I don't think they'll get relegated. They might find themselves in the area of of relegation. Don't think they will go down. But yeah, it's not ideal, and I think, to be honest, obviously there's a lot of factors that kind of derailed their seasons. Players leaving, but not only that, the manager
Injuries.
saying that, yeah, injuries, but even the manager saying that he's gonna leave, and like some of the things that the manager has said, I feel has like created an atmosphere there that has created this run of form, and yeah, it's just not ideal. I feel like. He's obviously gone against the board and said he's not backed them and stuff like this. But there's not a really good feeling around Crystal Palace at the moment. But I don't know what to say. It's just a poor performance. I think it was Lerma. He had a pretty poor game, man. Cost a couple of goals if I'm
Got him on goal as well.
Exactly, that last goal. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing.
That's in his natural position, though. That's the thing. He's not really.
And he's playing a centre back.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. It's unfortunate, but he just didn't have a
Just when
great
you
game.
sell Gahey. Yeah.
They clearly missed Gahey this game.
100%. I mean, Gahey's a fantastic player. We could have discussed him a bit in the Man City game, but again, he's just been so good for them. And to lose a player like that in January is very sad. And obviously Mateta as well has got an injury himself, and even if he gets back, he probably won't be playing for Crystal Palace. Because I think the relationship between him and the club has kind of gone in the bin. But let's give Burnley some credit. What a comeback. The last 5 to 10 minutes of the first half, to come back the way they did, to score the goals in rapid fashion and sort of stun Selhurst Park is, you got to give credit where credit's due. And to be fair, maybe they weren't the better team overall in the game, but to get those goals so quickly and to stun, like I said, the stadium, probably just sort of knocked Palace off and gave them a bit of PTSD in terms of losing.
Yeah, but I do want to talk about one thing though. You guys mentioned about Strand Larsen's goal. I think I have to give credit to Adam Morton because what an assist that was to him.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant assist. So obviously, when you get given passes like that, any striker will feed onto that and score. So you got to give credit to the pass in the first place. But I think the best player for Burnley was Hannibal. Obviously, he was an ex-United player. He scored the first goal for Burnley. Great finish from him as well. Just made the most of that chance. Very good finish. And I think all the goals Burnley scored are really nice goals. To be honest, they've just made the most out of the defenders, and put away the chances. But other than that, it's a disappointing result for Crystal Palace. But the whole season's just fallen off a cliff. I don't know what's happened to them. Obviously, they've let go of certain players and whatever, but that's not an excuse to be dropping points, especially like having a 2-0 lead. You should be conceding 3 goals just before the first half ends, which is ridiculous in my opinion. But there's not really much to say other than you got to give credit to Burnley, away for them as well. It's not an easy game against Crystal Palace, even though they've not been great recently. But for a team that's been promoted, you got to give credit to them, and 3 points is very important to them. In the relegation scrap, I don't know if I still think they'll get relegated, but it's still very important 3 points for them.
I mean, you never know. It's a very, very good result, and the way they got it is very, very impressive as well. 12 games to go. Can they give it a good fight? Who knows? Forest are falling off. Tottenham aren't doing very well. They both have new managers. If they keep on winning, you never know, because like I was saying about West Ham earlier on in the season, and Al was saying, we're definitely getting relegated. I'm like, no, you're not, because there is a lot of time to go. West Ham go on a good run of games, and they can get themselves out of the relegation zone. And maybe it's a bit too late for Burnley, but even 12 games, you just don't know what can happen in that time. Anything can happen in football. So that's why it's so exciting to see the relegation battle and how it's going to end up. But let's go on to the next game, and that is Sunderland versus Liverpool. Liverpool get a very important 1-0 win away from home to close the gap on the top 4, but as obviously Man United and Chelsea both drop points. Good defensive performance, I would say. And yeah, what did you think about Liverpool's performance?
Thought it was pretty good. Van Dijk got the goal, which was good for him. I thought he was very good. Van Dijk and Konate this game. I thought they defended pretty well. Definitely the reason that they got the clean sheet. And because Sunderland were very good, to be fair to them, it wasn't a bad performance. They did, get in the box, get some chances. But yeah, no, very good from Liverpool's defence. I think Wirtz was very good this game. And to be honest, I think he's been very good, for a long time now. And I think next season, as long as Liverpool, can get a few, sort the team out correctly, maybe if they do change the manager, but if they sort it out, I think Wirtz will be very key to any success that they have next season. And any success they have in the remaining of the season. But yeah, he looked great. It's a close game, obviously. It's only one goal from the corner. Surprised they even gave it to Van Dijk, to be honest. Probably should have been an own goal, if I'm being honest. But got the goal at the end of the day, and it was a good performance from them. Yeah, there's not much you can say, because there wasn't much that happened in the game because of that, because there was only one goal. I thought both teams played well, but Liverpool just came out on top. They just, got the goal out counted, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Sunderland looked very dangerous at some points in the game. But again, they just didn't have that clinical finishing that, again, I mean, Liverpool, they didn't really have clinical finishing either. It was just a bit of a lucky corner, you could say. Good header from Van Dijk, not too bad, but realistically, most Premier League defenders is able to clear that off the line. He was in the position too, but I don't know, I think he fell back or something. I don't even know what really happened there, to be honest. It's unfortunate, exactly, but credit to Van Dijk for getting the goal and being a match winner for Liverpool. But Sunderland, what did we think about them?
I think they did okay, to be honest. Obviously, they don't have the same firepower as Liverpool when it comes to creating chances and scoring goals. But they tried their best to obviously win the game, get points. And at home, we know Sunderland's good, but I think Liverpool is the first team to beat the form at home. So
Yeah.
now Sunderland now beaten at home, not unbeaten. But yeah, I think the goalkeeper's very important in this game for them, because without him, it would be easily like 2 or 3-0. He kept them in the game until when Van Dijk scored, obviously. But you can't really knock at them for anything, because they tried their best. Sun is a team that's been promoted this season, so they tried their best to get some sort of points from this game, and they didn't. But I'm sure they'll be fine and get points in other games.
100%. It's not too worrying for Sunderland. Like you say, there are definitely other points to grab. But yeah, let's move on to the final game. And maybe even the result of the weekend in terms of the title race. Arsenal drop points to Brentford and make the title race very, very interesting. Before we get into our Arsenal side of things, let's give credit to Brentford and how well they did to get that point. And realistically, they could have even got more from the game. They had a lot of chances to get a good goal. David Raya made, at least from what I saw, one great save from Igor Thiago from the header. That save was unbelievable. So, what do we think about Brentford's performance? And do you think it was a deserved result?
Honestly, I think they deserve more. They played better, if I'm being honest, had better chances. Like you say, David Raya made a great save. It did probably come from his mistake, to be fair, but still great save. And yeah, I think Arsenal were really off it this game, and were lucky to even come away with a point, if I'm being honest. I don't think they did enough to win this game, whereas Brentford, definitely did have the chances to win this game, and unfortunately, Thiago just did not take them when they came to him. And not just him, but like there were other chances as well. But yeah, man, just Brentford being such a good team at this season, and just every game impressing us even more. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just crazy how good they've been this season. Considering everything around them this in the summer, with the players that left and the manager leaving, it felt like everything was going against them. But it just shows how good of a club they are and how well run they are. They're going to fighting for Europe. I think they will get Europe, and they definitely deserve it because they've been such a good team. And yeah, no, it's just they deserve it, man. Been an amazing team, amazing.
100%. Hassan, let's discuss Arsenal and how this is a massive 2 points dropped. Realistically, they didn't deserve much from the game. I think a draw. I think even Declan Rice said it after the game that Brentford probably deserved maybe a bit more from the game, or deserved at least a draw. Realistically, they weren't threatening as much as you would expect from a team that are at the top of the league, trying to keep a big point gap. Yeah, what do we think about Arsenal, and will this affect their mentality for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think the context of the title race, I think obviously is 2 points, big 2 points dropped. But obviously when you look at the context of the game, I do think Brentford deserve the 3 points, and Arsenal were lucky to even get a point out of this game. Brentford had the better chances without Raya in goal. I think Brentford easily win this game. And yeah, I think that offered players need to obviously look at themselves and obviously try harder, because obviously I didn't really see enough urgency in the team. Gyökeres as well, graveyard shift for him. He's not really getting chances to score goals like how he did in the previous games. And I think it's to do with the wingers as well. Obviously Madueke is still young. Trossard for me is not Arsenal level starter of a winger, and I think Martinelli also missed a chance as well. So I think Arsenal's wingers have been one of the weak points this season, to be honest. And I think they still need to get better wingers for potentially next season as well. But yeah, it's just not looking good for them in terms of the attack. In terms of midfield, obviously midfield is good for them. Defensively, they were good as well. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's going to be really tough for them the next few games. Obviously, this will, hinder their, motivation. Obviously, will affect their mindset. But if they go to the next game thinking that, okay, it's just one bad game, we can, get points the next game, then they can definitely get. I mean, the next game they've got is Wolves and Tottenham after that. So, two fairly easy games for them, for their standards. But they do have Chelsea after that, which is an easy game. So yeah, if they can win those two games, maybe that could get some momentum going on for them. But it all depends on the bigger games, to be honest, for Arsenal, because when you're part of a title race, you need to beat the big teams, not just the smaller teams. So we'll see how their season goes.
100%. They have a couple of easy games coming up. They have Wigan, they have Wolves, and they have Tottenham. After that, they've got Chelsea. Brighton are pretty beatable. Everton, and then they have the Carabao Cup final. Now, I feel like that final is going to be massive in the context of the title race. I feel like the team that gets the edge in this game, obviously depending on how the table looks by that point, we'll have to wait and see. I feel like the winner of this final can likely be the winner of the Premier League as well, because I feel like it will give them momentum. And if Arsenal get that first taste of silverware, I feel like that will give them a massive boost and potentially help them win the Premier League. But we'll have to, again, all if buts and maybes, we'll have to wait and see what happens in that game. But that is it for this weekend. Technically, there is that Arsenal, the Wolves and Arsenal game is a part of this match week. So we will discuss that and give the predictions in the next video for that game. But yeah, for this video, that is it. But before we leave, Al, can you show us the leaderboard?
Yes,
that'll be there around here. Looks interesting. But let's go on to the quiz before we end the video. Al?
Yeah, so let's start with the first fact. He scored directly from a corner in the Premier League during the 2007-08 season. The second fact, he was one of the few Norwegian outfield players in the Premier League during the mid-2000s not playing for Manchester United. Third fact, he was signed by Graham Souness and became known for his deadly left foot and long-range strikes. For the fourth fact, he spent nearly a decade at Blackburn Rovers and was part of the squad that qualified for UEFA Cup in 2006. And for the fifth and the final fact, this left-footed winger scored a memorable long-range goal against Manchester United at Old Trafford in 2006. Sorry, 2005. 2005. Apologies. But yeah, let us know if you know who that is in the comments down below, and of course I'll reveal him at the start of the next video.
Sorry, I was about to sneeze there. Thank you very much, guys, for coming in. I really appreciate it. Very good game week. Let's hope the Premier League can keep it up and keep it more interesting. But thank you. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you get notified when we upload videos, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Yep.